Hey, what is good everybody? Adam here, and I wanted to share with you guys an inside look at the new D5 1.8 that's going to be coming out sometime next month, probably towards the end of January from what I'm hearing. Excuse my voice, I've been a little under the weather the past few days. But in the new version, there's a bunch of new features. The main headliner, I guess you could say, is the new dynamic particle system. So they have been working really hard to build a whole new system to support particles. It's going to be, from what I'm hearing, snow, rain, fire, waterfall, and fog. So I did get a little preview of what the snow was going to look like. Let's see if I can show that to you guys. So this is what the snow is going to look like. Thought this looks pretty good. Very convincing. Oh, fallen leaves is the other one that I saw they were going to add as well. And we'll just run through the list really quick. So we have the sun direction now follows the HDR. So they've basically redone the whole sky UI here. There's no more time of day slider. They've simplified things to be really just a matter of turning on follow HDRI here, and now you can just rotate, select your HDRI, rotate it, and it's basically all you have to do now. Much cleaner, much more simple, and you should get better results because direct lighting and the indirect lighting are now going to match up. One of the other features is you can now save your HDR with your scenes. So that's super helpful. As I change scenes, you can see that I have them saved with different lighting conditions. Couldn't do that before, so that's going to be helpful. Hopefully they get it to the point where you can batch render day and night all in one, maybe overnight or something, so you can set everything up, go to bed, render everything out. It's always been frustrating that you have to do day and night separately, so hopefully that helps with making that easier. Just keep going through the list here. Now multi-selected models can be aligned to the original model coordinates. Basically what that means is if I grab model here, drop it in, and let's grab another one, drop it in. If I select both of these here, hold shift, select both, there's a button here in the object dialog that is an align button. So now I can align those two together, and basically whichever one you select first, the other one will align to. So if I select the U first, the viburnum will align to that. So settings for materials not to be involved in rendering. Yeah, there's a new option here. I don't think it's turned on yet, but especially it's under the custom material type. Custom, if I go to the very bottom, I can now toggle this off, so it should become invisible. Like I said, it's not. Okay, so it will be visible, it just won't be involved in the rendering of the lighting. So it's just hiding it from the ray tracing itself. We now have an AO mapping option. So I have an AO map on the wall here. So you can see if I turn that off, you can see how it kind of basically hid the joint. And now if I turn it on, that joint becomes more pronounced. And I'm using this map here, which was kind of my bump map. But basically ambient AO is ambient occlusion. So that will help the areas that are occluded and add a little bit more shadow detail. So we now have autosave, which is great. Lens flare effects, I don't think those are added in the version I have. Camera variable speed motion control, so that's in the video settings. So now we have camera speed control, so we can ease in and out. So we can either go linear or ease in and ease out, or both. Select them separately or select them both, which is really great. It was a little bit, sharp to go from one camera transition to the other. It was a hard transition. Now we have a Z-axis rotation here. Model group support for video keyframes. If we would have things grouped here, and we would group these. Let me just drop in two things here. Go back to my scene, hold shift, select both of them. Now if I control G, I group them. Plants. Alright, so now I have some options here. I can export these. Now I can grab the group itself and I can export that as a D5, and I can save the group now to my asset folder. So if you had furniture that you have arranged a certain way, you could export them all excuse me, all at the same time, which is really helpful. If you made a planter with plants in it, you can export that as one object, which is really super helpful. But it's also now visible to your video rendering. So up here, if I am in my video mode and I click that group, I now have an option up here to keyframe the group. So I can add a keyframe here, move this down the timeline, add another keyframe and rotate it, move it, and you'll see now that that'll move and rotate. So you could do that previously, you just couldn't do it with groups, and now you could do it with groups, which is a great option. Like I said, we can export groups now. We also have real-time switches available for different preview qualities. If we go up here, toggle for real-time is now separate from high, medium, and low. So you can still have low quality real-time. You couldn't do that before. You could only have high quality real-time. So you can have medium quality real-time and high quality real-time. So that's helpful. We are going to have 3ds Max Live Sync converter for Revit lights. Rendering improvements, they've improved the GI, improved some video detail. There's multiple reflections in video rendering, optimization of fog parameter settings, material mapping supports color saturation adjustment. So the fog settings, I noticed there's a new Tyndall effect down here, which kind of gives you better sun rays, light rays. As far as the saturation, I did notice that that works now as expected. It didn't before. So now if I turn up the saturation, you can see that I'm getting a fully saturated color. So there's been efficiency improvements in the paintbrush for the grass. So you can see if I back up here, you're going to see that the distance from the camera has been lowered. So the grass isn't showing up here, where if I would render this, it'll render all the grass, but just in the viewport, we're getting more efficiency here. There's been some improvements to the collision for plant placement, rendering efficiency of large scenes with lots of plants. So I haven't tested that yet, but I'm hopeful that that's going to save some render time, because as landscapers, we use a ton of plants. So just some bug fixes that they've done in this release as well. So all in all, that's pretty much it for 1.8. As I get the particle stuff showing up, I'll show you guys what that looks like. And you know, I'm curious most of all about the fire, so as soon as I see it, I'll make another video and I'll show you guys what that looks like. I'm dying to see what the fire looks like, especially. So but as soon as I know, you'll know. And until next time, bye for now.